Welcome, Sharon Treacy, to Talking Sport with Stan, episode 7. I find it hard to believe now that I'm saying that's episode 7, but I just want to start off, Sharon, by saying thank you very, very much for taking the time out. I know you are a very, very busy person, and you have had a lovely little girl who's nearly a year old, Alice Ann, and I'm sure you're very, very busy at the moment.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sean, for having me. It was very nice thought of you to think of us. Yeah, we're good now. We're just, as you said, we're busy now at the moment. Little one is getting to a year old, so she's walking around and keeping me on my toes. So all is good.
I well believe it. I well believe it. And
Yeah.
how are you doing during lockdown, during this time? Like, how have you adapted?
Well, to be honest, I was kind of in my own bubble there for a while because I was on maternity leave. So I literally was only back to work maybe 4 or 5 weeks. So then I'm back now into kind of maternity leave mode again. So to be honest, it's been nice in one way because I've got to spend more time with Alice Ann. So I kind of appreciate, that little bit of time that I can spend with her. But it's been tough in other areas too, like, my dad who's in St. Joseph's and stuff, and you don't get to go visit and things like that. So it has its pros and it has certainly its downfalls too. But
Yeah,
look,
that's tough.
we're just getting on with it. So
I was actually in with your dad with the Connolly Cup there a couple of months back.
very good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we brought it in
yeah,
there one
yeah.
of the nights. Noel Devaney asked me to bring it in. It was
Lovely.
lovely. It was lovely to get in there. That's just before everything, had kind of went the way
Yeah.
it did, but that's very difficult. Yeah, it's a very tough situation. It just makes you just appreciate how accessible things were before.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you do take things for granted, and to be honest, the last couple of weeks you kind of see that just being able to do your own thing, go visit people, it's mad like what we do take for granted, really. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose we can kind of take this as a bit of a learning curve for everyone, maybe to take note a little bit more.
Yeah, and the one thing you'd fear or hope wouldn't happen is that when things do start to ease off again, that we just don't rush back into the crazy lives most of us were living, chasing our
Yeah,
tails, and
yeah,
it's
exactly. Yeah,
it's very important to pause, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, do you know what though? It is important to kind of take a little bit of time out, and I suppose some people just got pushed into taking time out now, and maybe they're starting to realise that there's more to life than maybe what they have been rushing and racing for.
Oh, of course, until you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was creating your cover page here, I was very conscious to put the Sean Connollys crest and the Killoe crest in just to keep the peace. Even though
To
I
be
think
fair, yeah.
we claim you really, to be honest, but um,
Oh God.
I didn't want to offend anybody or step on any toes. So, and then I politely put in Longford Daly's Killoe and Sean Connollys GAA. So we'll start off on a good note.
You're very good.
Sharon, when I was asking you for your accolades the other day,
Hmm.
like obviously, like growing up and watching you play and witnessing you playing, like I thought I was fully aware of how successful you are as a footballer and as a sports person until you sent me this list the other day, and I was absolutely blown away by it. To be perfectly honest with you, I was just, and when I was reflecting on it, I couldn't help but think if this was a male sports person that won as much as this, it'd be known everywhere. Like it's
Um,
incredible. I'm just going to go through it here first of all, okay? And then
hmm.
we'll have a little reflection on it because I think it needs to be reflected on. It's just even just looking at it here in front of me. So I'm going to start off with your club achievements.
Hmm.
So 2 Senior B championships, 2 intermediate championships, 1 junior championship, 7 senior championships. You were captain in 2006, and that was your first, was it?
Yeah, well, that was our first
First, that was your
senior
first. Yeah,
championship.
yeah,
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
7 league titles and 1 Leinster A League title. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah.
And then your county achievements: 5 intermediate Leinster championships, 1 league title, 2 interprovincial championships, player of the interprovincial tournament 2005, 3 All-Star nominations, 1 All-Star Tour 2006, Irish Independent Lucas Aid Sports Player of the Month May 2005, 2012 Intermediate Player of the Year nomination, Team of the League 2012, 3-time Player of the Year awards for Longford School and College, Post-Primary School Leinster Championship with Moyne, Post-Primary School All-Ireland B Championship, and 1 College All-Ireland AIT, and 2 College All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
When you were putting that list together to send to me, what was going through your mind? Did you ever stop and think about this?
I didn't really. To be honest, when I was putting it together, I was like, I started to kind of reflect a little bit, because you forget things, you kind of
I
forget.
don't know how you forgot all that.
As the years go on, though, you kind of, things, I don't know, I suppose things get into perspective, and
Yeah.
you kind of move away from things, and just I don't mean forget, but you just don't maybe dwell on it. But looking back on it, I suppose I was just saying I'm very thankful, to be honest, and I'm very thankful that I got so many opportunities to play with so many maybe successful teams, from my club to playing with Leinster to playing with college. I was very lucky to play on a very good college team, even though we were probably at a lower grade. But I was playing with the likes of Cora Staunton and Yvonne Burns. They were all like Mayo girls who were doing very well around that time. So I always kind of had someone on teams that I could really look up to and maybe aspire to as well. So I was lucky, I think, in a lot of ways, to be in an era that I was, and to have so many good people, players, management, and mentors around me. So, looking back on it as I was writing up the list, I was like, gosh, I actually felt old. I was like, my God, these dates are dating back a good few years. So, but no, it was good. Like it brought back some very good memories, actually. So.
Yeah, like it's just I was stunned. Now I won't lie to you. It's not that I was stunned. Like as I said, I've always been aware of how successful you've been, but when you actually see it in front of you and you're putting it down, like it's remarkable. And look, for as long as I've known you, you're one of the most humble, unassuming people you could ever meet. And I know, like you have done there now, you've passed the praise on to people you have been involved with and the coaches that have worked with you. But there's a flip side to that as well. I'm sure all those people out there would be, would all agree like that. It must have been and was a pleasure to have you involved in that generation too, and involved with all those teams, because you were such a key element of it. It's something to be very proud of. It's unbelievable. That's what it is. Unbelievable. Is there anything on that list that sticks out to you about the rest? The long list.
There's, I suppose, our Leinster Club Championship. I suppose we won the Leinster Club Championship with Joe McCormack involved with us in 2008, and that was a really nice medal to get. It was, and to be honest, we actually fought hard for that medal in. I think it was down at Thai. We were playing a Kilkenny side rail yard, and I recall us. I think possibly we didn't even score in the first maybe 20 minutes or so, and I remember going in at half time, we were trailing, and we were just like, what are we doing? Like, we kind of came into that Leinster Championship as complete underdogs. I remember we went down to Road, it was our first game in Offaly, and we played that game. And I remember leaving the dressing room, and we were kind of having to crack and laughing, because we didn't realise that we were probably had the potential to win, an intermediate championship at Leinster level. And we started the game, and we just started very, very dominantly, and we were like, okay, we actually have a chance in this. And we started to kind of maybe believe, and gained a little bit of we kind of gained a bit of momentum in the game, and we came out winners on that. And then we played Fox Rock, which were a massive team. Like in the semi-final, we played them at home in Killoe, and we came out on top in that game. I think we only bet them by maybe a point or two, and they had a good few big guns from Dublin playing with them, and like that, we've seen ourselves in a Leinster final then, and we started to make hard work of it in the Leinster final. But thankfully, we put in a very good second half performance, and we came out with the win. So it was a memorable achievement, I think, for a club like Killoe to win the Leinster Championship, because it was more than what the club deserved. Like, it was
Yeah.
great to be able to kind of to give that back to the club. It was brilliant. Like, and we were actually lucky then to go on in the All-Ireland semi-final, and we got beaten by a Cork team in Cork. So we were just, we were lucky to be pipped down there too. Like, so it could have been a different,
Yeah, and
story.
it's tough at that stage to be traveling away to those games as well. It does add to the difficulty of it.
Yeah, it did. Like, for girls, I suppose, like playing club football, we weren't so bad. We were used to going with county, we going here, there, and everywhere. But for club games, like, it's different because you're so used to getting into your car. You're at the game 20 minutes, half an hour. It's different when you're getting onto a bus and you're trying to kind of mentally maybe prepare for a game, etc. Like, when you're it's different. It's a totally different process for people like that are just maybe out of their comfort zone. Like, but the girls did very well. Like, we had a young side as well, so
Yeah.
maybe a bit of rawness as well helped. So
Oh, I'll tell you, rawness is key in any success, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
And it's, it's special to win with a group that you've been playing with for so long. And I suppose
Yeah.
our ladies were knocking on the door for several years.
Yeah, absolutely. We started, I know, with Gary, poor Gary. I don't know how he didn't tear his hair out with us. We had so many. I think we play something like 3 senior championship finals, and we're beaten in 3 of them in a row. And we really learned how to lose, and I think maybe that was a key thing for us as well. That we seen how it was to lose, and I really think you have to learn how to lose before you can start winning big games. Like, so
I totally agree
when
with
we
you.
did, when we did win then in 2006, it was great. I was delighted, like, especially for the work that Gary Fenlon put in with that team. Like, it was brilliant. Like, it was great.
Yeah, you always remember those people that put in the groundwork, and like you've been with so many different generations of players as well, so you've experienced it all. You've experienced the highs and you've experienced the lows,
Mm-hmm.
and I think as you said, it does really make you appreciate the good days when they come, because they're very hard to come by.
Yeah, they are. They are hard to come by, and it's important when you suppose you're in that situation to kind of take it all in, because you never know when the next medal or the next cup is going to come about. You really don't. Like, it's for a long time, like, as I said, we were getting beaten in so many senior games and senior championship finals, and we were like, oh man, are we ever going to break through? And when we did, then we had such a great run. We were tit for tat with Clongish. I think we won it in 06, they won in 07, we won 08, they won 09. So, but you never knew when you were going to be pushed aside, and the likes of maybe Carrigammond or Slashers or Edgetown were going to come through. And, like, we were getting older, there was other teams coming up that were younger, getting experience, so you
Yeah,
just never know. You never know when you're going to be pushed out.
it's very even at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
It's
actually.
really
Yeah,
competitive at the minute. Yeah.
yeah, and it's good. It's good to see, because it that leads to more kind of competitiveness for your county panel as well. And I think it's important, like, that clubs. I know when I was kind of playing county, there was a lot of kind of maybe the 2 or 3 top teams with most players in. Now there's a great mix. Like, it's fantastic to see maybe a representative from nearly each club. Like, it's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah.
And club level is fantastic at the minute, and it's great to see the likes of. I was delighted, like, to see the likes of Carrigammond and Slashers breaking through. It's great. Like, it's very positive.
Yeah, I know it's a hard thing, probably for for ladies at the minute, who mightn't be. You've had so much success with Killoe ladies for over the years, and I suppose at the moment now the fact that it's Killoe ladies probably weren't as dominant in the last year or two. But I think in the bigger picture, as you said there, it's a positive thing because it allows for a lot of development.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Players, when
absolutely.
I think, as an athlete, when you're challenged, that's the only way you'll improve.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Like the likes of the girls there in Killoe, like, they've still a great bunch of
Yeah, and they're
people
so
there.
young too.
Yeah, like, you have like Fiona Torr there. You have Orla Torr, who's an absolute phenomenal girl
No,
there
sure.
for
Orla's a
club.
warrior,
Like,
yeah.
she's brilliant. She brings the whole thing together, and she keeps everybody together. And they have a lovely. I actually did a session with them there just before all this started, and they did they have a great young panel there that have great potential. They've that young Rihanna girl in goal, and she's brilliant. Like, they've great potential. Like, and it's important for them girls to stick together. Like, because it will come. We were the very same in the 90s and 97, 98. We were coming in as the younger kids, and the older girls were getting frustrated because we weren't winning. But then we gelled eventually, and we started to progress and to win. And it's just important to stick with it. It's
so true. And just when you mentioned Orla there, my only problem with Orla, now she'd probably kill me for saying this, is when you tell Orla to relax and take it easy, she doesn't listen.
It's worse she gets.
It's worse she gets. I think the last few times I've met her, I've said, Orla, you should be taking it easy now and relax. But no, she ups the ante then.
Yeah, she's a gas. She's great club person, and she goes so unrecognised, I think, and to be fair to her, she does a lot of work.
Look at the people that are aware appreciate it,
That's true. Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
Lovely, Sharon. Lovely. Will you tell me about young Sharon Treacy growing up? Was sport always a massive part of your life? Was football always your number one? Had you other areas?
Like, I grew up on a farm with 3 older brothers and a father that was very much involved in GAA, and he live and breathe it. So I suppose I was lucky in the sense that on a Sunday, Dad would put us in the car and he'd bring us maybe to Connollys. He loved Down. He loved the Down team in the 90s. So we got to experience lots. Yeah, he loved Mickey Linden and
Mickey Linden. Yeah, God, I'm not getting the mad flashback there.
Yeah. So he had Ross Carr as well. He loved them, but he used to bring us up maybe to Connollys there every so often to watch games. I remember actually one time going up to Connollys. We hadn't even a ticket, and he was pushing us up on top of a wall, and somebody else was taking us down, and we just didn't watch the game. But sport was important, I suppose, in our life. I suppose back then it was different because that was your social life. You went to training to see your friends. Like, you wouldn't have mobile phones or tablets or anything like. So it was great. Like, when you knew you'd train, and you wouldn't miss it because you were going to see your buddies or whatever. Like, so
you took people's word for it, didn't you?
Yeah, you did. Like, it was, and you'd get to train no matter what. If you had to cycle 10, 15 miles, you still get to it. Or, it was.
Yeah. Do you think we were a lot more accommodating back then? You might cycle to training and then you find out there's no one there and it was cancelled. And you just pass no heat and cycle home. Whereas now, if you got a message, you'd be given out and you might then move off the couch.
Yeah, it's true. Like, but I was lucky. Like, my 3 older brothers, they were always into football as well. And we grew up very kind of, I suppose, I remember the gable of the house used to be, the pitch, I suppose, used to be, the ball was belted up against the wall and 4 of us went up, and you could come down with a broken nose or missing tooth or something, but there was never any love lost, like, so, we enjoyed Gaelic. I suppose it was the main sport we played in the house, like, and there was a little bit of soccer played, but not a whole pile. Like, when I went to school to Moyne, I played 5 years basketball and thoroughly enjoyed basketball. It was a new venture, it was a new challenge, learned lots of different skills from basketball, from catching, from just vision as well. It was a great help towards the Gaelic, like, so.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's one sport I'd love to have tried, just for a while. As you said, there's such a crossover of skills.
There really is, actually. Like, knowing where your players are at and just kind of passes, etc. Like, it was good. It was good for vision, I felt, and for quickness and speed, and it was good.
And did you ever think of pursuing it then after Moyne, or was it just a case of leaving it then?
I remember we played a little bit. I played a little bit in college. Like, I did enjoy it. I remember going for trials for Midlands and things like that. But I remember we were playing in an under-16 Leinster final, I think, at home, and there was training clashing with the basketball. So football won over. So never kind of really pushed on after that. Then I just kind of, after school, I played a little bit in college, and that was it then.
Yeah, it was your first love, and that was it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah.
And then what age were you then when you started playing with Killoe ladies?
I can't actually roughly remember. It was roughly maybe 10, 11.
I was going to guess that. I was like, you were definitely really, really young.
Yeah, it was about that, I think, because I played majority of my football with the Connollys club up until that. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, when I remember getting a call from John Doherty actually and Pat and the Gary Fenn on the phone, never knew this guy or never heard from before, and he started talking about ladies football, and I was like, what is he on about? Like, because ladies football wasn't a massive thing, in Longford at that time. Like,
Yeah.
there was no real, like, I was kind of between parishes. I was kind of more Cullen-Kill, and but I would have always associated with Bannalee, like, but we would have been
Yeah.
from the parish. So neither of them had kind of ladies clubs or anything, like, so you were kind of, it
And
was
what
always,
happened, Sharon, there with Connollys when you were playing up to a certain age? Did it just stop then, or was there no, like,
yeah, like
how are your numbers like at that point?
in Connollys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were okay. Like, schoolboy, we would have been playing.
Yeah.
We were playing schoolboy, under 12, I think under 14, and I think we were even allowed to play at under 16 level. But then the following year it stopped. But our numbers were okay. We would have had middling numbers actually back then. We had the likes of Paddy MacDonald and Porrick Brady, Smiley, as people know him as, and there was a few lads, Paddy O'Neill and them were around at that
Yeah.
time as well.
But I suppose
So
when you were progressing as a girl, like say a ladies team at that time, would you have had numbers say for a ladies team?
no, oh gosh, no, we
No,
probably
just
wouldn't have at that time. Well, it's hard to know actually, because
yeah,
when you look back now and you see all the girls that would have went to Killoe from Sean Connollys club, we look back and go, actually, yeah, we probably would have had the numbers, but it just never ever was something that was talked about or developed. So
yeah. You probably needed someone to take over that and create it, I suppose. And then
yeah.
look, we're not going to complain. You came the right direction. You crossed the bridge. Very good. And then you obviously started playing with Killoe ladies very young then, Sharon. And like did you fall into the county setup then very quick after that? Were you very young moving into the county setup?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it was about 11 or 12, maybe going in with Killoe. And then I think the ladies team were in the All-Ireland final in 96 and were beaten. I remember actually going up to the game and was amazed at the whole
Yeah,
atmosphere. And it was brilliant. Like, and then 97, then I think I was maybe 13 or whatever I was. And seeing them win then, and it was like, wow, this is just, it was great.
brilliant.
And then
Yeah.
the following year, 98, I think I was on the panel in 98 then. And so I think it was about 14 on the panel in 1998. So
That's
I started
unbelievable.
out young. Yeah, it was young, but back then it was different, like, but it was still, I suppose, it was quite young when you look at it, like, but
You see, the age does seem quite young when it comes to ladies football. You see in our club even, they
yeah,
they can come through very young. And then on
yeah,
the other side of it, you find sometimes, except in the rare case, you might see the retirement age is also very young.
yeah, that's it. Like, it is very young when you look back, even on our own club there, the amount of girls that would have stopped playing maybe before they're even 30.
Mm.
It was just, it's quite young. Like, you would have a lot of retirement very young in ladies football. Like, even look at your, as you said, the Killoe team at the moment. I think she's, what is the average age? Maybe 21, I'm going to say, if
Mm.
even, for a senior team. Like, it's gas. Like,
Yeah, and like such an abundance of girls coming through there as well, because the school girls they've had great numbers last few years. Jerry Rowley's doing great work there, and it's
yeah,
very lucky that there's such a supply. That it's
absolutely,
you have to be
yeah.
very fortunate as a club that we have that coming through.
Yeah, well, I think Killoe were very fortunate there. Like, even looking in there, it's such a phenomenal community. Like, I have to say, like, credit where credit is due. Like, there's always, no matter when you go to Killoe football pitch, there was always somebody there training some team, whether it be under sixes,
Oh,
eight.
yeah, it's Friday
Like,
evening there.
it's yeah, it's great. Like, and the groundwork has been done there. So, it just goes to show to the success of what has come through the club in the last couple of years. Like.
Yeah, there's great work coming in. Like we are very lucky, because
Mm.
you need a lot of volunteers. You need a lot of people to give up time, and it's not easy nowadays. It's not easy to get people to do that, because
No.
I think people seem to be pulled in different directions even more now, and which makes it even more remarkable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And like your county career, Sharon, did you ever take a year away from it, or throughout your whole career? Did you ever take a break? Or?
No, I didn't. Only through injury, but no, I never took a break from it. I went straight through. So I had a bad injury in, I think it was '08. So I done my cruciate and I did bad damage to my knee, and then when I came back from that recovery, I went and I dislocated my elbow. So it was just from one thing to another.
The
So that was my
knock-on
only
effect.
break. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was my only real break, I suppose, throughout the, what was it, 15 years or whatever it was that I took, I suppose, reluctantly had to take.
And can you describe that period to me when that happened like that? Going through that, was it a very, was it a lonely process?
Yeah, it was actually, to be honest. I remember, first of all, when I did it, I done my cruciate in Pierce Park it was a All Ireland quarter final versus Cavan. And we were actually going very well, and Carl Dermody was over us that year, and we were playing quite well that year. We were going good, and I think it was in the first half it happened, and I remember going over, and a tackle came in from the side, and I went over, and I was like, gosh, that was sore. And I remember getting up and saying, oh, I think I'm okay or whatever, and then 2 minutes later I just went to run for ball, and that was it. Knee was gone. So
God.
from that stage, then I went to Minute up to Amar Hertigs and got a scan and all the rest. And then your man was telling me then that I wasn't probably going to play for at least 12 months. So on that same day, I actually had got a call from Jarlath Burns to say that I was after making the international Aussie rules team
Oh God.
for that year. So I was like, this is an absolute balls. It couldn't come at a worse time. But look, it was a lonely kind of a process. Like I never realized, like, injury. I was kind of lucky up until that point. I had a few different little injuries, but nothing that would put me out for so long. And recovery was lonely. Like, it was all new to me, to whole rehabilitation and recovery, and getting things right and understanding then what I can and what I can't do. Like I was limited because when I did my knee, I did my ACL, my PCL, my lateral, my medial, and I had cartilage damage done. So I had a good job done. Like, so it took a lot of kind of, I suppose, motivation, I suppose, in one sense, to kind of get yourself back, to say, right, I want to get back, was number one, that I actually wanted to do this again. And I remember going into the gym a couple of times a week and swimming and,
And
all
when you
those.
say a couple of times a week, how many times a week?
Yeah, I was probably going in most days, maybe one day off. I was probably
Seven
swimming.
days a week.
Yeah, I was probably swimming. I was trying to swim a good bit, because it was the only thing I could do kind of cardio wise, without using my legs. So you could swim just with arms only, whatever. So it was actually great to have the ability to swim. And I would recommend anyone that can swim, learn, because
It's the
if you
best
do get
exercise.
yeah, it's just, even just if you get an injury, it is something that you can do, and it's gentle,
Yeah.
and but for me, exercise is a massive mental thing as well. I find it extremely good for my mindset. If you're having a bad day, just maybe go to the gym or go for a run or whatever. Like, I think
Yeah.
in that respect, it kind of kept me going. The gym and the swimming and all that kept me going throughout my recovery. So
And at the start there, this is after happening, yeah, and then you receive your second blow with the news that, you had made the squad. And initially, did you lose heart in the whole thing originally, or were you driven from the moment it happened to you to come right again, or did it take a while to come around? Sometimes you can.
um, I think I was more driven, because I remember that particular game that I got injured in, we won, and we were in the All Ireland semi final against Leitrim in Hyde Park and Roscommon. And on that particular day, it was actually a training session with the Irish squad and in Roscommon. I attended the session. So now, obviously, just watching, and I remember chatting to a few of the girls that I would have known from different teams, and I watched the session, and to be honest, looking at them playing and looking at the caliber and the players that were there, that were so good, it kind of drove me on to say, right, well, I want to get back to this. I want to get back to being able to compete at a high level. Like, so I suppose it helped in one sense.
Of course. And then when you're coming back to test it for the first time, it's such a massive moment as well, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't know until you go out and you're in action again.
yeah. That's it. And to be honest, you get kind of, when you're kind of there, but you're not there, and you think you're there, but you're not there, and your manager kind of says, "Look, I'm not going to play yet. You're just not there yet." And I remember being down in Breffni Park playing Cavan back, and I think poor Gary was actually involved that particular year as well, and he was like, "Sharon, no, you're not playing. That's it." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
I
but
had to
when you look
stand.
back though, I suppose you have to admire that he was looking out for you. It could be,
Oh,
it can be the
absolutely.
opposite and say, if you're
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
right, like they play and
Yeah.
not show any of your
No, yeah,
cards.
he was, I have to give him, like, he was great. Gary he was one person that actually stuck with me throughout my whole recovery and always checked in and to see how I was, did I need anything, blah, blah, blah. He brought me to several appointments and stuff, and I have to give him credit. He was a great manager and a great friend throughout it. And yeah, I always found him very good. He always had the players' interest at heart. So
Yeah, that's
definitely.
very good. And I'm sure at that moment when he said he wasn't playing you, I'm sure you didn't welcome it with a smile. Now you were probably raging inside, but is that an understatement?
What's that thing people say? No comment.
We'll leave it there. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
maybe safer.
no, that's good to see that awareness back then. Like, that's sort of
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
see people being looked after, because it's that injury in particular is so delicate. Like, you hear
Mm,
so many stories like of cruciates, and you hear someone does cruciate and it can be said to them, "Oh, well, such a person made it back in 6 months.
mm-hmm.
So look on the bright side." And you're saying,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, but when you look at that situation, 6 months, that player might only be coming on for like 2 or 3 minutes. They're not like, you're not back to full
no,
performance. Like, would you say
no,
it takes a year?
yeah. It does. I remember, I think we were playing, the first game I played was down in Mullinachta. I can't recall who it was against, but I remember going on and I was starting the game and I was like, okay, right. I was just waiting. I know it sounds silly, but I was waiting for someone to hit me or to get into a hard tackle to kind of test it and
I'm
say,
surprised
right,
you aren't looking for it.
so it was you need to get that bit of a belt to say, right, okay, I'm okay now and I can move on from this. So
And for sure, and the Laurels wouldn't have been the best of surface back then either.
no, it would have been a bumpy enough
Hey, if you come
field,
out
and
of
it's
that,
not
you
the
knew you
field
were
that
okay.
it is now. Like, yeah.
So the rest was history after that. Well, I know you had more knocks after that, Sharon. Then I suppose, and like, did it ever get to? Did it ever get to a point where you were like, "Oh God, I don't know if I can do this again now. Is this going to be the story for the rest of my career? Am I going to pick up these niggles and knocks?" Or what way were
Yeah.
you thinking?
Yeah, like, as I said, I came back. I remember I was only a couple of months back, and I think I was playing with Leinster, and I went up for a ball and to flick it over. I don't know what I was doing, and another girl came in to catch it, and we collided, and I just dislocated my elbow. So the two injuries kind of happened nearly one after the other. So I was only back maybe 6 months when I got injured again. But the elbow, I kind of came back quick enough from that, so it wasn't too bad. But
Pretty
yeah, like
tender
I
for a
can't.
long time, was it?
Yeah, and it was tender, and it was even more so than the knee. It was kind of something that you were always afraid was just going to pop out, because it was probably one of the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. It was extremely painful, like, but it did come against me a little bit, but not too much. Like, again, when you got the confidence back to go back playing, you kind of forget about it too again. So, like, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and no major setbacks then after that, was there?
No, not too bad. After that, then I think it was okay. After that, I was wrapping up in cotton wool. I was getting older, maybe a little bit wiser, maybe not getting into.
Yeah, were you learning? Like, were you learning to look after yourself a bit better?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I remember Dad always saying to me not to be into this tackle with your head and blah. But I suppose when you're playing, you know yourself. When you're playing, you see ball and that's it, and you just you go for it. So you know, but as I got older, I kind of learned maybe to be a little bit more smarter and maybe not go
Just to
into,
appreciate the body a bit more.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for
I
sure.
want to take it back, I suppose, from a young age, you were probably mixing it with the brothers at home as well, which didn't help. You were probably, as you were saying earlier on, you were competing with him at home in the house for the ball, so you were well used to the rough and tumble from a young age.
Yeah, I think actually from our era, I suppose, growing up, you played a lot of football. Like if you wanted to play football, you played with the boys, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And as I was growing up, there was myself and Marie Carrigy actually was involved with the club as well when I was going, and we'd have been two girls in Bannalee. So it would have been good. I found that very beneficial playing with the boys because you did kind of get that little bit of toughness from playing with the lads, and
Yeah.
you could bring it back then into the girls football, like, you know, whereas I know to say it's not a non-contact sport, but it is a contact sport, you know
Oh,
what I mean? Like
definitely,
it's
yeah. And there was definitely
like,
contact in the mixed games, like
yeah,
something similar.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So like, you know, it helps. I definitely think that helped.
Very good, very good. It's great, Sharon. And what would you say was your most memorable sporting moment?
um Gee, there'd be a few, like, you know, I'd have a few. I suppose standout ones would be our first senior championship, and captain in Killoe that year
Extra
was
special.
yeah, it was extra special actually. Yeah, it was a nice one to get, and I suppose our first Leinster championship then with Longford then would have been another highlight of our career, of my career. So yeah, there's lots, like, you know, it's hard to pinpoint any one particular moment that I would say that, you
Yeah, I
know,
do.
that was my
I
most
do
memorable.
realize it is a difficult question considering how much you've won. So I do
Uh,
appreciate that. So I don't mind you picking two or three. It's okay.
yeah, I'd be greedy.
Keep going. Well, just going through them like earlier on, there's like it'd be next to near impossible to pick out one because they're all so prestige. Like they're just, they're very, very unique awards, a lot of them too. And
Mm,
do
yeah,
you know where they all are? You do?
I have an idea. My mum is probably, I'd say, dusting them. Unfortunately, not how they want to dust them. I'd say they're probably stuck in her way. But yeah, there was one in particular. I suppose was my dad was he was always at all my games, and he never would miss a game. And he
Mm.
was he was so good to me. He brought me everywhere, and I remember going to play in the interprovincial tournament 2005, and he was the only person there that I would have known, you know, from kind of Longford as such. Like, you know, he came to watch the tournament, and when I received the player of the tournament, it was probably one of it was just it was a nice moment to share with Dad. Just being the two of us there, it was very memorable in that respect, that you know, he was delighted, and it was nice to make him happy. And
I'm sure
yeah.
he's beyond proud, Sharon. Lovely moment to have, like, and to cherish.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
that's
really
like
nice.
it's. We all at the end of the day, we all play for little moments like that, I suppose, don't we? Like we kind of envision
Yeah,
it, and then
yeah,
when it happens,
yeah,
it's
yeah. You
yeah, it's
never
hard to
think
put
it's
into
going.
it's hard to put into words.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's nice. It was nice for him. I enjoyed it for myself, but I enjoyed it mostly for him. It was nice for him to be there to see it happening. So.
Yeah, I love that you're able to recall that, like, that you're able to,
Mhm.
that you're able to talk about that happened, and that is so important to you and so special to you.
Mhm.
It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Sharon.
No problem.
Now I'm going to throw this one at you:
Yeah.
men's GA versus women's GA. I want to get your perspective on us fellas
Mhm.
in regards to, okay, naturally when we're playing games, I would find in my observation that the crowds at men's GA games would be significantly larger than at women's GA games. Did that affect you when you were playing? Did you think, you were always great supporters of ours and you came to watch us play?
Mhm.
Did it ever go through your mind, was it frustrating at times to see that difference? And I hope I'm coming across here in a constructive way. Like, aware of it. I'm not saying, like, if I'm being honest, like there, over the years, there would have been a difference in attendance.
Yeah, like I don't know, would it have ever, I suppose, affected us playing? I don't think it would have ever affected us, but of course you would see the difference
Mm.
definitely. I remember going playing in when our championship was knockout in maybe I think 2000, 2001. It was knockout championship, and I remember going to play. We're playing Mead, and we're in Pierce Park, and there was maybe 5 people here and 10 people there, and
Yeah.
it just creates a bad atmosphere. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
when like in maybe 2010, 11, we started playing our home games, a lot of our home games in Killoe, it was way better because the small crowd that you would see in Pierce Park was a big crowd that you would see in Killoe, and it created great atmospheres.
Yeah.
But so like, you know, the funny thing is with people supporting the guys and not the girls, you'd always hear people if they watch a girls' game on TV, or some of the ladies All Ireland finals. Like some of them All Ireland finals are more, and I would say definitely more entertaining than the guys. Men's football at the minute, I think, is very bland and it's boring. Whereas I think the girls' football at the moment, ladies' football at the moment, is quite exciting. It's quite fast. It's a great game to watch,
The
and it's
standard
just a
is very high,
shame.
isn't it?
It is. It's getting higher and higher. Like there's more money being put into to ladies football now at the moment, and you can really tell. Like, and it's really been shown. But it's just a shame that people don't appreciate it when it's on their doorstep. That why
Yeah.
not go to see the girls play? Like, they're at the end of the day, them girls are putting in the same effort as the guys are. Like, they might be gymming 2-3 times a week on the field, another couple of nights a week. They're putting in the same time, the same effort, but
Yeah.
it's just a shame they don't get you don't get the people out to actually to watch them and appreciate and support them.
That's it. Like, and you were saying there, but the same effort goes into it. Like, you deserve to have that support. You deserve to witness that atmosphere. That gives you like, yourself when you're playing there and you notice like the crowd at the grounds, it gives you that extra edge. There's something special about playing in that atmosphere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's just interested in your view on it. And I suppose in
Mm.
other aspects of it, like the competition, if we're talking, being honest about competitions over the years, and you would have seen it with the clubs as well, like there can be, to be blunt about it, there can be a lot of disregard in a way with, regards fixtures and stuff like that. I've seen you
Yeah.
girls play at ridiculous hours, like 9 o'clock. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I often wonder who in the right mind would even sit down and come to a decision like that.
Yeah, like to be honest, there was a couple of years there, and I just can't pinpoint the exact year it was, but some particular game we were playing over in Keena. I think it was like at 9:30 on a Wednesday evening, like a county final.
Like,
Just like, it doesn't, it was just such disrespect, I think, to the girls, to both teams, to go and play at 9:30 on a Wednesday evening. Whatever about playing in on a Saturday or Sunday, that you might get people to come and you're able to, put on an exhibition or whatever way you want to call it. You know, People actually get the opportunity to go, but like, who's going to go at 9:30 on a Wednesday evening? They're not. Like,
Sharon, you
people.
wouldn't even call a training session for 9:30 on a Wednesday.
No, like, and for kids, like, you want young kids and young girls going to watching games, and having games at that time of night is just, it's just bizarre, like, so, like, I do think that the approach that the ladies association take to All Ireland final day is something that, Longford have actually kind of started to do it as well, like, have all
Yeah,
your junior, your intermediate and your senior finals on the one day,
yeah,
create like a ladies day, and create that bit of atmosphere. And it does. It's great. Like, it's nice for people when they get to their county final, that they feel right. It's important. Like, what I mean. That this is a pinnacle of some people's careers. Like, that this is the day that they want to shine, and it's nice to think that there's people there to watch them.
yeah. And as you said, they're like a simple move, like bringing the games all to the one day. Like, look at
Mm.
the impact it has, and it's
Yeah.
just, when you're heading to a game and there's going to be a crowd there to support you, like, it's a different feeling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like that was one thing I did enjoy was playing our whole. I would much prefer playing. I'm probably being biased now. Killoe was always my favorite pitch to play on, but to play our county games there was a bonus. Like it was brilliant. Like it was always home. Like you were so used to the grounds, and then to have the crowd there was it was great. It created an atmosphere for us, and you kind of always knew who was going to be there, but it was good. Like
Yeah, well, I doubt there was any other girl in the squad who disagreed. Like they would have
Mm.
appreciated the same thing. You wouldn't have bothered you where you played once. You got the following, you got the support, and
Mhm.
you could
Yeah,
sense it. As you were saying, you could go into Pierce Park there, and the crowd would just disappear.
yeah, yeah.
We
That's it.
actually
Yeah.
seen it ourselves there, like when the stand was closed for a while, like the impact it had in the championship. People,
Yeah,
it just put
yeah,
people off straight away because, like, you were thinking, you were sitting at home. If it was a bad day, you're like, oh, stand's closed. Oh,
yeah.
I
That's
couldn't be
it.
bothered going, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's the difference, isn't it? Like
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
the promotion they're putting into the ladies' game now is excellent. Like you can see it, even even something simple like the advertisement posters and all that. They're everywhere,
Mm,
and they're really visible,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you need
It's
that.
good. Yeah. You do need it, especially for young girls now. Like it's important. Like it's like exercise, no matter what form it's in. It's just so important for people for mental health and everything. It's just it really is. And if one young girl can get something out of it, then it's done its job. Like so, I think their
Yeah,
marketing efforts have definitely helped in the last couple of years. Definitely.
yeah. You got to make it appealing. Like you have to.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life post football, Sharon. How has it
Yeah.
been?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, like football
Smooth
is good.
transition?
Um,
Was it weird?
yes, it was weird for the first while. I think the first year that I finished up, I think the girls got to an All Ireland semi final, and I was like, oh man, am I going to miss out? You just think, oh gosh, and then I think it was the girls won. Then they got to the Junior All Ireland. Then I kind of made a stab to go back that particular year. I went back training. Was it 2014? The girls was in the junior or
Was it?
15. I can't, or was it later? I can't even remember. My memory is terrible. But I remember I made a stab to go back at that start of that particular year. I remember going up into Stroid. There was 8 of us at training. It was snow, and I was like, "Oh, do I really want to
Oh,
do this?"
did you get out of the
And
car?
I did, and then to be honest, I kind of said no. And it you kind of get that feeling like no, actually, something. No, I don't really miss it that much, So, in the sense that I mean that in it was different. There was 8 girls there, and it was a younger kind of group, and not being disrespectful, but none of my kind of crew were there. A
Mm,
lot of my friends that I had played with for years were moved on and retired, and it's hard to go back into a camp when you kind of don't know anybody, and you're maybe 10 years older than somebody.
yeah,
It's just different. And to be honest, I found actually Noel Murphy Fitness Factory, and to
that's
be
right.
honest, that kind of it filled the void. And I just wish I had to meet Noel Murphy in the Fitness Factory 20 years ago before I started playing football, because
I was going to ask you that. Like, just looking
yeah.
back, the whole, like, there's not when people are very quick to we can be very quick to run down Longford and our county and what we provide, but like there's so many people doing great things in our county, and like that's you're after mentioning Noel Murphy's there, and you take a lot of classes in there as well yourself, don't you?
Yeah, you help out Noel a little bit there
Yeah.
now. So
So
he's a great lad.
yeah, like I know, and that's what not to talk about what you've mentioned there, like the strength and conditioning that you've been participating in now. I'm sure you look back and you say to yourself, "Oh, I wish I had applied. I wish I had that to apply to my game." Not that you needed it in any way, shape, or form, but you probably
Yeah,
look
but
back. You go on.
yeah, I do. It's one area that I would have said, yeah, definitely. It has such an impact on people, like for sport, for injury prevention, just
Mm,
to be able to, as you say, able to apply strength. It is so important. Like no matter what game you're playing, and ladies or men, it's so important to have a strong body going into games. You're going to get pushed around, tackled. You're going to get injuries, etc. Like it's important, I think, to have the basis of a strength and conditioning. And back when I started, like there's nothing like that, absolutely
No.
nothing. It was only in the latter years it kind of started to dip in a little bit, but not to the extent that it should be at. Like, like I think every team, how big or small, it should be doing some aspect of strength and conditioning work. Like, strength and conditioning isn't all about lifting weights and doing this, that, and the other. It's there's so much functional movements that people should be doing and should be able and capable of doing, that they're not. Like, the simple little things that people actually aren't able to do, that if they were doing functional work, that it'd come second nature to them. So
Yeah, it's so true.
shame.
If your body's not functioning properly, you've got injuries written all over you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
And like
definitely.
it's something. And then the other side of it is, once you start it, you have to keep it up. Like, you really do. Because
Yeah, you
if
do.
you were to take into strength and conditioning strength and conditioning, say towards the end of your career, you might start picking up more injuries then at that stage, because it was probably it would have been such a shock to the system. It would have been something completely different. You can often see that happening with some fellas when they take it up nearly too late. They can start getting niggles because you're playing so long without it.
That's true. Yeah, it's possible. Like, I suppose everybody is different, and
Yeah,
every individual react differently to different things. Like, but yeah,
we've
it's
we come
just
on so much, like, and there's so much knowledge out there, like, and like when you think back to when the weights first came in, it was just ridiculous. It was all about
yeah, it was,
how much you can lift. Like, there was
yeah,
a lot of Johnny Bravos going around the place, put it that way,
yeah,
and pulling hamstrings and quads, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head there as regards exercise. I even find myself too. There are times you just be kind of on edge of it, and you kind
yeah,
of energy. You just go outside, whether it's skipping or something, or like for me, if I'm going for a run or anything like that, I do it for I do it for the pleasure of it. I don't go out to
yeah.
burst
Just
myself to
clears
get
the
a
head.
specific time. Yeah, it's just that feeling afterwards, as you said. It's and
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to be aware of that, isn't it, Sharon? Like that. That's
yeah,
what you need.
yeah. Absolutely. Like, it's. I suppose even now these days, like, these times when people are maybe in at home, or in lockdown, or whatever you want to call it, like, it's so important to get out just for the hour and just do something, whether it's just go for a walk, go just do anything. You just feel so much better after maybe a half an hour of exercise. It does so much for you.
And how are you managing your life balance at the minute
Yeah,
with
okay, like,
regards to exercise?
yeah, okay. Like, I try and train maybe an hour a day or that, so
Okay.
I try and get that bit done. I feel so much better for it. Like, so, you'd be so used to training, going into, to Knowles there for an hour and training in the evening time. And, you do miss that, even just to miss the social side of it. So, it's great to be able to even just go outside, or, a few bits in the garage there. You can go and do a few bits of, whatever for an hour, and just forget about the world and go into
Yeah,
your own little bubble. Like,
it's
it's
true. Yeah.
important.
And
Mm.
your place of work, Sharon, as well, like the Core Leisure Centre, is so important to people as well. Like, it's such a service, and the word you hit on there was, so socially, it's so important. You see the same. You meet so many people in there coming and going, different classes, and I see there's an extension we built there now, isn't there?
Yeah, it's great. Actually, got great news there that
Yeah, it's going to be a
there's an
fabulous
extension
job.
going. Yeah, the gym now will be good. Like, when they get it up and running. Like, so, like, it is such an important service in Longford. Like, actually, and people don't even know it's there. Sometimes you can, like, a lot of people. It's amazing. Like, from working in Mal there, like, the amount of people that I know that have never come to the pool is amazing. Like, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's gas. Like, even looking through football teams that I've played with, I could name maybe 3 girls that may have come swimming over, the last 15 years or whatever. Like, but it's important. Like, I've been talking to a few of our older members there, and they're really missing it. Like, because every morning at 7 o'clock they'd be in, do their bit, and they're gone. Like, but for them it was a real social thing. So, it's hard for people like that at the moment. They don't have maybe the the resources we might have at the minute. Like, that was their main exercise in the morning. and that was it, like,
Yeah, I used to meet some of them actually when I was in there in the food more. Sister Pauline was one of them. She comes to
Yeah,
mind. Yeah, she
yeah,
on
Sister
her
Bonnie was great.
her hike
Yeah,
around the mall, and then she would get in for a swim. And I was just sitting back one morning. I was just saying to myself like, how important this is to these people. And
yeah,
and I was
it
thinking
is.
of then during this time, like how difficult it must be because she was telling me about her routine one morning, and she had it all mapped out the same every
Mhm,
morning. And I
mhm.
just felt
Yeah.
sorry for her a bit now that, when all this was
Mhm.
happening, I was like,
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of, I know
challenging.
I've been in touch with her a few times actually, Sister
Oh,
Pauline, and
really?
yeah, like, so she's probably one of the most positive, happiest
Oh,
people I've ever met
unbelievable.
in my life.
Unbelievable. I always come out of
Yeah,
the place gleaming altogether.
yeah, she's great, and she's just one of those people that, I don't know, she'll always put a smile on your face. Like,
Yeah, it
she's
could be lashing rain outside and she'd say it's great. Yeah.
ah, yeah, absolutely, yeah, she's gas. She's a good person, very good
Yeah, it's
person.
good to have
So
people like that around you. Yeah, look at
yeah,
it.
it is for sure.
It's brilliant, and I'm actually really looking forward to. Like, I know there's challenging times coming, like as regards how we're going to operate and how you guys are going to suppose operate in gyms, and there'll be different measures. It'll be trial and error, really, won't it?
Yeah, it will be like, so I know even here in Car Leisure, we're going back teaching classes outdoor now shortly. So that'll be, but then you're just restricted to numbers. Like, it's going to be, as you say, it's going to be trial and error. Like, you just don't know what to expect really, and you don't know what people's expectations are either. Like, so it's just it's very hard to know. But look, it'll come to an end at some point, and all we can
Yeah, I
do is
think
try
so.
and make steps towards making things better and making it easier and more accessible for people, like, so
Yeah,
hopefully it'll come good.
we just got to do the best we can to keep, just make sure everyone's adhering to what we have to do.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sharon. I found two pictures here I want to talk about. The first one on the left here, um, with Pat Smith, and I just thought it was a lovely photograph because obviously the first person that sprung to my mind was Ali,
Hmm.
and like well, I've certain memories of Ali myself when I was younger because of my father's involvement with the rugby club, and Ali's
Yeah.
dad Brendan, they played rugby together, so I always kind of knew her growing up, but
Mm, of
she
course.
yeah, she was an amazing talent too, like, and
Mm.
I just thought of the whole award, and especially with the cup named after her as well. I think it's a really special thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great, to be honest. Poor old Ali, she was a fantastic person,
Oh yeah,
to know, and she brought such charisma to the team as well, and to even outside of football and outside of everything, just life in general. She was a very positive, outgoing person, like, and it's lovely, like, that the cup is named after her. To be honest, it's a fitting tribute to her, like, so I remember the year we went back, the first game back, I think actually we were playing in Killoe, which was a county game, and it was so strange to go, into the dressing room and she wasn't there. Like,
mm,
it was a
yeah,
horrible, even now you'd think about her and you're like, jeez, it just, it's crazy. It's nearly 9 years. It'll be 9 years this year. Like, and it's so, it's still so surreal, to be honest. She was
yeah.
such a
She was one in a
good
million.
person.
Yeah,
She really was. She's very positive, and as regards and football ability and basketball ability, she was just phenomenal. Like, I think she actually got an All-Star nomination in 2012, I think it was. Um, and if I'm correct, I think she could have went on a tour. If I'm not mistaken, I think she could have. I'm just not 100% sure, but it was something she absolutely deserved. Anyway, she did the years she'd given, and her
yeah.
commitment to it was phenomenal. She was very good. She was a great person all around.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, you'd miss her.
Yeah, just no more than yourself, Sharon. Every time, as you say, every time you meet her, every time you meet you, like you're just always in good form. You're always, always on the front, and I'm sure, it's not always, it might not always be like that on the inside, but that's one thing I can always say about you is no matter when you're in your presence, you're always in such good form, and you're always so positive, and I really admire that about you.
Oh, God.
And I seen the Fitness Factory video there recently for Laura Lynn, I thought it was brilliant. You have to talk me
Yeah.
through that. Like, I never underestimated your strengths, right? But when I saw the video, I was like, oh.
Oh, we have to give out to Noel Murphy about that one.
It's like, is this real? I said, how is this?
Yeah, it was good crack. I think Noel was bored one night on a Sunday night, and he just decided, right, we got to do something for charity. So
So well
it was
done.
it was good crack. Yeah, it was funny. It was
Well, John was in his element, wasn't
John. Yeah,
he?
John being John, he was pretty relaxed about the whole thing.
I said, once he's not looking to be brought into town like that now.
Yeah, no,
He'd be
he'd
all
be
right.
pushing it.
How is he getting
Yeah,
on anyway? Good.
yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
Thank God. No, so he's
Would
keeping
you
well.
compliment each other now, I would say, with the exercise and stuff, or like would you push each other on, and like would it be a joint
How
thing, or well, like would
in
you like us would you go to the fitness factory together, would you, or you did
Yeah,
before?
nod time now. Yeah, we would.
Yeah.
John worked kind of longish hours,
Yeah, so it's difficult
maybe
for
and
him.
stuff like. So, like when he can, he go in, but
Yeah.
he'd be fairly relaxed about the whole thing. But he'd have a good interest in just getting in, having a bit of crack, and the
Ah, of
social
course,
side
yeah.
of things. He really enjoys, So, um, the social side of the gym is quite good actually. And to be honest, it's people think going to the gym, you want to go and do this, that, and the other, but it's a lot about the social aspect of it as well. Just going in, having a chat and having to crack with people, So
Yeah, because sometimes
he's
when you could go to a class sometimes and you mightn't be just feeling it, but you could just meet
yeah,
somebody there that just changes your attitude straight away and to drag you through it. And you could do that for
yeah,
somebody else then another evening.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's it, and he's good. He's very good for starting a bit of banter and a bit of crack. So
Yeah, put everybody at
it's,
ease, yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So
Well, I'm
it's
sure you're a great influence, Sharon, now.
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know if it rubbed off that much, to be honest.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Oh
I have
gosh.
two on-the-spot questions for you.
Yeah.
Is there anything Sharon Treacy would have done differently throughout her sporting career?
Would I have done anything different? Would I have done anything different in my sporting career? I suppose things I would have probably done different would have been definitely recover better. I remember when I was younger, like you were in school, you were playing basketball, you were playing football, then you were home, you were going to club training, and you possibly could be going to county training or something that you could be silly, So in that respect, I probably would have looked after myself that way. I would have probably tried to put myself first in some cases rather than thinking about other people and trying to make people happy in one respect. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful
No, I
way. I mean
completely understand. Yeah, I completely
I
get
mean
that.
it in the
Yeah.
sense that, injuries and stuff like that, that could have maybe been prevented, and maybe pushing yourself a little bit too much and burning the candle at both ends. And, it would be something that I would have changed. I may have said it, maybe not take things as serious as well. I feel sometimes, I've missed out on things, like for example not taking a break, maybe not going on holidays, maybe missing, family occasion because of games, etc. Maybe,
Yeah.
always putting football first wasn't always the right option. Looking back now, you see little things that that you should have been maybe doing instead of playing football. So
Yeah, and you probably look back and think, there's certain things you could have done and still played. There's things, but you're so committed, I'm sure, that you were just, no, it's this way or no way. I can't, I can't. It's one or the other, Whereas
yeah.
you can be a little bit flexible because
Yeah.
in the large scheme of things, it wouldn't have that much of an impact.
Yeah, that's it. Like you just kind of think, I suppose in the moment you think, oh, look, it's the be all and end all. But now when
Yeah.
you're a little bit older, you realize, no, it actually isn't. There is, at the end of the day, football is a sport. It's there to be enjoyed. And, you know, that's the way I think I should have approached it maybe a little bit more that way, and
Yeah.
lived life a little bit more and done maybe things that I regret not doing now. So,
Yeah. I know. That's the tough side of it looking back, and
yeah, yeah.
I know I've said to you, like, you're so unassuming and so humble, but if I was guessing, I'd say, like, when you were playing, you were competitive. Would it
Hmm.
be right in saying that you were driven? Very competitive.
Yeah,
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 I would have been
very
competitive.
competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
how would you have dealt with defeats?
Um,
Could you
I was
just?
actually okay. Like, I'd be very, maybe depending on what was at stake. If it was a game that maybe a league game, you'd say, right, you can see where you went wrong, etc. But um, defeat, I suppose, we learned how to lose, as I said earlier, like playing with Killoe in early years. Like we really did learn how to lose. There was oftentimes Gary used to say we were better losers than winners, because when we'd lose, we'd be out and having the crack. When we'd win, we didn't know what to do.
You'd right
But
at it.
yeah, like but I suppose, but in the bigger games, like I know we lost 5 All-Ireland semi-finals, and there was one in particular, probably you'd say, right, okay, Armagh beat us and they were a better team than us. We could have beaten them, but on the day they were a better team. But the 4 other All-Ireland semis, like there was a lot of regrets. Like we could have won each and every one of them. There was a kick of the ball in the last one with Tipperary, we were beaten by a point. Them kind of defeats, they were harder to get over. Like, it's just the last game in particular would have been my last game with Longford in that respect, was against Tipperary, and it kind of went a bit, we got beaten by a point in the end. It was a bit controversial and all the rest, but at the end of the day, we were in a position in the game to win it, and we ended up losing it by a point. And that was probably one of the hardest defeats to take, because I kind of knew at that stage that this was it. I can't do this again. So
Yeah.
it was hard, but otherwise defeats, you get over it. There's always, if you're in the middle of your career, there's always the next day. There's always things to work on. You have to take the positives out of things.
Yeah.
You didn't win for a reason, so you just
It's
got to
true.
work on that.
I think the sooner and earlier in your career you realize that, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Very
It's
good.
not always somebody else's fault. You have to just look within your team. It's not always the manager's fault. It's not
We're all
always the
guilty of that too. We're very quick to point
yeah,
the finger at times. Yeah.
yeah,
When you start
absolutely.
when you start turning it inward, I think that's when you make progress.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
Second
that's
one,
for
who would John be shouting for if you were playing against Clongish ladies?
sure. That's the easiest question. Clungish.
I was kind of holding out a
Without a doubt.
little bit of hope
Without.
there. I thought he might be converted, but I was like, oh,
Oh
come on,
no.
Sharon.
I actually remember we were playing Clongish in Drumlish, and actually John and I think it was Busty, actually. Steve Coy was over Clongish at the time, and we were playing in the county final. And I think actually Clongish beat us. So needless to say, it was a very quiet household for about a week. There really wasn't much speak. We actually never spoke about that game. It was like, no, it was too much. John is a good man to rub salt in the wound. Like,
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah, there's enough rooms in the house, was there?
yeah, there was,
Just
thank God.
I suppose, Sharon, as a mom now, like, and Alison, like, what would you hope for her, or what would your guidance be for her as she gets older, and
Um,
how would you like to guide her?
well, look, I'd like to get her just into everything, and choose something, whatever it is, whatever makes her happy. But I'd love to guide her into a world of fitness and a world of exercise, team sports, whatever she wants to try. I'd be encouraging her to try. It doesn't necessarily have to be GAA or anything, but the one thing about GAA that I would encourage her to do it for, it would be for the camaraderie and the friends and the people that you meet along the way. And I think that's one of the most important things that the GA has to offer, is the friendship and the camaraderie you make through club level and everything. It's so important for any child growing up to be involved and to feel involved in something is quite important. And it's a stepping stone into school and to college and things that you always, I remember when I started college, I didn't know anybody, but when I walked into the dressing room, I made 30 friends. And I
Yeah,
just think in that respect, I'd like her to get involved in team sports and to be creative and try everything and see what you like and go from there.
That's super.